Welcome back to Need for Speed Unbound. Today's the day we have been waiting 2 months for. Ever since the game came out at the start of December, they have been hyping up the end of January as being the first update, and it is officially here. And today we're gonna jump in. I'm gonna tell you all of the new things, all of the things that were changed, and why the first update is an absolute disaster. You know how I usually like to present updates in like a fun and interesting way? I don't think it's actually possible to do that this time around. Let's jump into this. So this is the brand new January update and a look at the road ahead at the future updates coming for Need for Speed Unbound. So welcome to 2023 Need for Speed fam. We're excited to be back in action after a little break, and we're coming in hot with an update. I like how they wrote coming like this without the G. Just so you know they're cool and hip and with it. And definitely not a boomer trying to appear cool. So, what's actually in the update? Need for Speed Unbound Update 1.1.4, aka the January update. So, number one, the balancing. Both the Volkswagen Golf GTI and the Koenigsegg Regera are getting rebalanced. So, the Golf is getting its acceleration under high gears reduced to make it a little bit more realistic. And the Koenigsegg Regera is getting its top-end acceleration reduced. That way, again, it'll be kind of less OP, which is awesome. When you've got an arcade racing game like Need for Speed Unbound, you can kind of mess with the realism a little bit. So the cars are a little bit more balanced, so no one car is dominating lobbies. Things you love to see. I guess that's it for the balancing, because after that, we immediately jump over to voice over IP, and they improve the quality for PS5 players. They also added a new warning message where if the game fails to autosave correctly, it'll basically pop up with a warning message so you don't lose your progress, instead of fixing the autosave issue. They've also added another warning if your PC is a little slow, and it'll basically pop up with a warning to say, having a skill issue. And then there are multiple stability improvements to address game crashes. And that's it. Yeah. Oof. I don't know if it's just me, but that is not great. I think the most annoying part of this update overall is that it doesn't even mention the fact that the developers back in December said that they were going to add things like nighttime into online and cops into online free roam, and none of those things were specifically called out in this update, which is really disappointing. But it gets even worse when you see things like those balanced cars, like the GTI, like the Koenigsegg, but arguably the most unbalanced car in the entire game was the Ferrari 488 Pista, which you can downgrade from S-Class all the way into B-Class. And if you've played online, you've 100% seen the Pista ripping up online lobbies because it's just straight up unfair fast. For those of you who don't know, you can toss a 4-speed gearbox into the 488 Pista, which basically changes the performance index but doesn't actually change the performance of the car that much. It makes it a little bit slower, but not nearly enough. And long story short, it is like the most broken car in Need for Speed Unbound. And it's super frustrating to not see it on this list of fixes. It's great to see the developers recognizing that there's an issue with some cars like the GTI and like the Koenigsegg and addressing those issues, but missing one of the biggest offenders of all is just a little strange, if you ask me. To be fair, though, the developers did actually say this for the road ahead. As mentioned in December 2022, we will be delivering a series of free content updates that it will include new features, experiences, content drops, and more. We are currently working hard on delivering our first content update to Lakeshore and are looking forward to sharing more details with you in March. Oh! We gotta wait to March. And if you read between the lines, it doesn't actually say the update's gonna be coming out in March, just that they're gonna be sharing more details with us in March. What's super frustrating about this is you might actually remember a video that I put together a couple of weeks ago titled "Did Need for Speed Unbound Fail?" where I basically spoke about like the shrinking player base, some of the weird design choices in the game, and kind of the lack of overall content. If you missed that video, I'll link to it in the description down below. It was a pretty interesting one. In my previous video, I uploaded that around here, right after January, where the game actually went on sale. It was getting around 3,000 players, but after it went on sale, it was getting close to 5,000 players. As time went on, players experienced the game, people who bought it on sale played the game, and those player numbers kind of started to resort back to normal. Yeah. You had this huge influx of players who jumped onto the game when the game was on sale, and then as soon as the game came off of sale, those player numbers dropped back down immediately and actually went even lower than they were originally, all the way 1,400 players, 1,600 players. Again, Need for Speed and EA recognized this, and that's why they actually put the game on a 50% sale, basically taking the game from 1,600, 1,500 players up to 3,000, 3,500 players. And you may be saying, Nick, why are you bringing up the player numbers again? Well, if you combine this with what I was saying about how we're going to need to wait until March for our first proper update, and the player base is already doing this, what are the player numbers going to look like come March, where we have to wait another 2 months for our first proper update? I would have loved to have heard the developers say, yup, we've got new cars coming. Yup, we've got new customization coming. Yup, we are going to be tossing the cops in the next update. Yup, we are going to be tossing nighttime into the next update, just to keep players' interest up. But for right now, we are literally at the same point that we were in December with the exact same news. But this time, we've got to wait another 2 months. As a fan of Need for Speed games, it honestly just hurts because I want this game to do super well. I want Need for Speed to be the king of racing games again, like it was in the mid-2000s. And based off how it's going right now, it doesn't look like it's anywhere near that. At the end of the day, I just want Need for Speed to be the best game that it can be, and I want to be proved wrong. I want to come back to you in March and say, this is the best update we've had in a long time for Need for Speed. And right now, I'm just not confident that I'll be saying that in 2 months' time. But I want to be proved wrong. I hope the developers can deliver something that makes me say those words. Only time will tell, obviously, but what is going to be that thing that's not going to bring us back to the game just for 1 week or 2 weeks, but what's going to make us come back for the game every single day, day in and day out, for months? And answering that question is super hard. If I had to place some bets, I guarantee the next update is going to have some new cars. I bet it's going to have some new customization. I would really like to see the game introducing leaderboards back into the game. That would be awesome. And addressing those online things like I was mentioning before, and fixing up that pista pasta. That would be awesome too. But at the end of the day, I think there's a larger problem here. Like, there is a reason there are so many players jumping into this game and then leaving after a week. Not to mention, one of the craziest things going on behind the scenes right now for Need for Speed Unbound is the absolute insane mods that the community is putting out. There's simple things like making Yaz and ASAP Rocky playable characters, and there's bigger mods that completely redesign the physics engine that just look insane. Whenever this mod, if it should get released in the future, I really want to try it out because it looks so cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys soon. Well, 2 months from now with more Need for Speed. I'll see you then. Bye!